Hello, good morning. My name is Jude Hizefa Okale, your regular host on this program, Eye on Corruption, the Nigerian Situation. The topic today is election irregularities and manifestos of falsehood. How can these be checked? Uh, to have this discussion with me today is uh, a renowned engineer and a project manager, Mr. Jonas Iporo. Um, we'll get to that very soon. Just a quick intro. Facebook, and of course, our website and Twitter. Um, the topic today is election irregularities and manifestos of falsehood, and we'll be dwelling on this issue very soon. I would like to just do a quick publicity and we engage in a lot of activities, including charity works, and of course, working towards the social economic development of our dear nation, Nigeria, under the auspices of the Global Coordination for Democracy, for Security and Democracy in Nigeria. And uh, you can see the banners. I'll just do a quick introduction of our programs. This is one of our projects, as a water project in Arodo, Moro local government area of Kwara State. Please be a part of this by contributing a quarter to it. And we are involved in so many other activities, and I will be giving you more of this later on. Just a quick one.
Hey, please share this video. Share this video, Wakodo. A plantain now, don't 1 5 seed of plantains now 1 5. Share this video. Make United Nations here. You say waiting. And they go Ghana right Ghana. Yes, and Nigeria want to relocate to Ghana. I want to go secure one land there first. Share this video. United Nations come to our rescue. 5 seed of plantain is now 1 5. Pure water is now 20 naira. Egg now, you know the fee buy again because the fowl, UCS operation they burn the egg. Share this video. Call your dog idea.
All right, good morning. Good morning once again. Please like and share our videos on thumbs up. I am here to have the issue discuss today, I have a person of Mr. Jonas Iporo. He is a, a project manager, an engineer, and of course a healthcare worker. So he is here. Please, Jonas, please, can you show your face and introduce yourself quickly?
Uh, I'm happy to join you this afternoon. I know in the Northern Territory in Canada is morning. We are now in Alberta. We're in the afternoon here. My name is Jonas, as I earlier said, and I'm a multi-faceted person. Vast. I'm an engineer, a project manager, a health practitioner, and a businessman. Thank you all.
Mr. Jonas, please, can you readjust yourself so that we can see you properly? We can only see just your forehead.
Oh,
Can't
yeah.
see you actually.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, that's better. Thank you very much.
Thank.
The topic today is election irregularities and manifestos of falsehood. How can this be checked? A lot of times, before electionary processes begin, most of our politicians are known to come with all kinds of gimmicks to convince the citizens to have their votes when the time comes. And in some other cases, when they are unable to win the hearts of uh, the electorates through all kinds of gimmicks, they come up with, cajoling, intimidation through the use of thuggery. They come up with all kinds of things. They can even buy up security agents. They buy up the INEC bodies, the people saddled with the responsibility to conduct free and fair and credible elections. And they even go to the extent of, working with the security agencies, to the extent that when they perpetrate their evil acts, the security agents will have no other option but to look the other side. And that's one of the ways. There are also other ways whereby they come up with all kinds of manifestos just to, all kinds of lies, telling people that they will do this and that. They will make all kinds of promises during the electionary campaign. They also involve all kinds of tricks. It's like in some cases they come and sit with the less privileged in the society. They can even come to the marketplace, so the market women sit with them in their shops and all that. These are all gimmicks they use, all in a bid to buy the conscience of these people. They go as far as doling out money to buy their conscience, and these are all ways that has these are ways that have always been used. And the most painful part of it is that even when these people get the tickets they voted for, or they're able to manipulate the process and emerge as winners, these promises made during the campaign period are often ignored. In most cases, when you call the attention to these promises they made, they often come with all kinds of excuses and on blame games on past leaders. How can we check these excesses to ensure that electoral processes are free and fair and people are accountable to their words for their electoral promises? Mr. Jonas, please.
Oh, thank you so much for the question you just asked. First and foremost, you cannot treat a disease without first of all tracing the source of the disease. So the problem with politics and fulfillment of politics in Nigeria has to do with we try to tackle the symptoms, probably see the signs, and we complain without tackling the issue that has to do with the source. The source of Nigeria being unable to fulfill their electionary campaign has to do with what I call lack of knowledge and what the electorate do not even know. A lot of electorate do not know what they want. More often, they want just the immediate gain, the tokens, the 1,000 naira, the 10,000, 5,000. That cannot solve the problem. And remember that the problem of failures of our leaders did not start yesterday. It did not start 2014 or maybe year 2000. It started way back, and this has remained unchecked until now that things are getting tougher. So to me, the way I look at the Nigeria space and the politics that are involved uh, is for each of the electorate, that is the Nigerian masses, to really look inward and ask themselves, what do I really need? What do I really need? With the 10,000 given to me, with the bag of salt given to me, with the bag of rice given to me, will really solve my problem? Would that be a solution to my children' future? So these are some of the things we ask ourselves. And they have to recognize the fact that as a leader, they're supposed to be held accountable. So, but these masses, these are leaders, I mean, these are Nigerian masses, do not even hold our leaders accountable. So first and foremost, we have to use the electronic voting system. That is one. Then two, we have to know what we want. What do we want? We should hold our leaders accountable. How do they hold our leaders accountable? If a leader comes to you to give you a bag of salt or give you $1,000, 1,000 naira to be voted in, the question you ask yourself is that this money how would this money benefit my child? Would this one give my child a good education, good hospital, good roads? So these are some of the questions. There too, the leaders are coming to us, the ones that are coming to us to convince us. Let us look at their antecedents. In their previous position they have had, the company they have worked for, the government offices they have had in the past. What were their outputs? What was their effects? So when we look at that, that will really help. Then the third one is really checking. You cannot use your position, maybe the state of your lack, let's say poverty or whatever, to really destroy your future. So if you try as much as possible to pay that sacrifice, stand firm and ask yourself, no, $1,000 cannot really solve my future problem. So this time around, I'm going to vote for the right person. And the right person I'm going to vote for, I must hold that person responsible. I think that will help a long way.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jonas. And that was a brilliant one. You talked about checking people's antecedents, to know if they can be trusted before we think about giving consent to them as candidates that can be trusted.
Yeah.
And you talk about the issue of poverty. Poverty is an endemic situation that actually make people to do what they ordinarily would not do.
Yeah.
I totally get that point. Now, in during the electioneering processes, there are rules set by each of the political parties or even the constitutional provisions, and some of these provisions are not what the ordinary person can surmount. For example, the high the amount you pay, the fee for registration of political parties, the fee for to signify your consent, your interest. I mean, to signify your interest in any position in any of the political parties. Now, these are a huge amount of money, and people people really trusted people who have not stolen money in one way or the other before may not be able to raise these funds, to get them to become candidates in these political processes. So poverty also is another issue that you talked about. Now, how can these issues be checked? Issue of poverty, how do we tackle the issue of poverty to the extent that the electorate will not be swayed by the antics of these politicians and the buying of their conscience with money?
Okay, thank you for that question. I think a lot has to be done. First and foremost, we really have to engage what I call continuous education, um, continue to engage our people, both in the urban and rural area, teaching them what is expected of their leaders. A lot of people out there that go out to vote do not even know that they have the right to remove their leaders. Because let me give you an instance. If a governor constructs a road or build some hospitals, he will go out there and tell people, oh, I do this, I do that. No, the question you ask yourself, is the money belongs to you as the governor? No. The money belongs to the state. And it's just entrusted under your care. So once as a citizen, you understand your right, that you have the right to know how your money is being managed. You know what's expected of your leaders. That kind of education needed to be dished out to our people. A lot of people do not know this, because that's why you have what I call the praise singers out there. If a governor borrow money from the World Bank, or borrow money from the IMF, or borrow money from banks and construct roads, and they begin to sing, it is their responsibility to make sure that the money kept under their care is judiciously used. So it is not kind of a praise singing. So for the masses to really understand, for them to be fully engaged, for them to overcome this kind of scarcity syndrome that is really bewitching our people, they have to know their fundamental right. Then two, a part of sacrifice is also good for these people, because if you say you don't want to pay sacrifice of not refusing the money given to you, or somebody threatening you that, oh, if you don't vote for me, I will not give you this position, I will not give you that position, that will really help. Then the issue of greed. Greed is one of the major issues that really cause election failure, because if a leader, for example, come from a particular constituency and is voted in as a House of Assembly member, remember during the time of the electionary campaign, he ditched a lot of money, he spent a lot of money. So as soon as he's voted in, he wants to recoup every money that he spent out. And beside that, this particular leader, as soon as he's voted in, the community is expecting from him that he will build one of the biggest mansions in the village, or build one of the biggest. No, so the materialistic tendencies, the high inclination for material wealth is one of the major causes of political failure in Nigeria. So people are greedy, they want to amass wealth, they want to please people, and these are some of the issues. So if we can shun this act of materialism, this act of getting what we want today without looking at the future, I think that will help a long way. But
All right.
the bottom line is that people people should know what they want. They should be well knowledge. They should have enough political knowledge to know what they want from their leaders. If they need that, if they don't have that, they will do the right thing. They will not accept 1,000 naira from their
Thank you,
leaders.
Mr. Jonas. Thank you for that. You talked about enlightening the electorate,
Yeah,
to be able to decipher who and what they want. And you talk about, a culture of shunning materialistic attitude in the life of our citizens, so that everybody will be on the same page and will be very conscious politically and enlightened to such an extent that they will not make the mistake of voting incompetent
destiny.
leaders.
Yeah, voting their
Now,
destiny. Yeah,
yeah,
when you collect money, you have mortgaged your destiny
okay.
already.
Now, the issue of poverty is a very big factor in that sense, and people get a country gets the kind of leaders they want, and that's why we're in this big hole. Now, the electoral body vested with the responsibility of ensuring free, fair, and credible election, are they living up to their expectation in checking these excesses of irregularities and manifestos of falsehood? Is our constitution, which is the ground norm, strong enough, or does it have the enabling laws to check these excesses? For example, the INEC vested with such responsibility are often found colluding with the rogue candidates to manipulate electionary processes. A case in point is a video I want to show to you right now. Hold on a sec, and we'll watch this video together.
Kai ka dinga na biyu ka dinga dangwala mu PDP mana.
Ai na wata
Za ya dangwala PDP an sai mai babur. Ai zo ka dangwala. Ya kudi ma ya bashi babur zai danna PDP dangwali.
kadan sa'a nan nan zaka sa ka bata mana kada Allah ka.
All right. Although we cannot independently confirm the location of this act, but we can understand that this was recorded from a section of the country, during an electionary process where people were seen thumb printing, into the ballot boxes, and these definitely would be agents of political candidates who may have been paid, to carry out this nefarious act. Which in that way, you would definitely believe that there is a kind of collaboration between the INEC, vested with the responsibility of conducting free and fair elections. Before this can happen, there must be some kind of collaboration between those in charge of that, of that process, and the rogue politician. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, what I see there is the issue with free and fair election ought to be a collective issue, collective responsibility of everyone. But very unfortunate that you will see this kind of issues happening. It's not strange to me. I've seen similar stuff some years ago, and we still have to go back to the issue of knowledge. If the people doing this kind of stuff, we call it ringing election, using them to ring election. If they know that at the end of the day, they are the one to really the failure comes back to them. They are the ones at the payback. They get the benefit of failure at the end of the day as their gain of democracy. They will not do it. But if they are given the necessary education, the necessary information, if they have this information on their part, I think it will go a long way in not eliminating, but reducing this kind of irregularity. Then on the part of INEC, yeah, it still boils down to issue of greed and issue of getting it materialism, getting it, anything I can grab from the system, I will grab it. And that is exactly what you see. So from the top down to the bottom, the man at the top may not be corrupt to an extent. Even the state official might not be corrupt, but the field officer might be corrupt. And that's the issue. So if we can use this electronic system, we have them here in Canada, here in the United States. If we can use the electronic system where you can thumbprint right there and your data just show at the central system, that will really help a long way. Then the issue of poverty, you cannot eliminate poverty from the society. It's part of the society. But there's a way we can talk to these people that they cannot, because of the level of their poverty and the money given to them, because the man that's ringing, you saw there, must have collected some money from one of the agents. And that's why he's doing what he's doing. He didn't do it free. He's doing it because something has been given to him. So
That's right.
yeah, that's why he's doing it. So he's doing it because he has been paid to do it. But he failed to realize that he's indirectly mortgaging his future. Okay? He's indirectly mortgaging his future. So, but a good education on the part of these people will really reduce these issues. And then I will tell you this. This thing has been on for many years now, because if you really want to take the power from the people, then you impoverish them. So a lot of people have been impoverished for many years, and they know that because they do not have the education, they don't have the necessary information, and they do not have the infrastructure. So when money comes to them, they look at the money as their second God. So a good education, a good information, a good monetary system will really help in reducing this menace.
Now, before we go on, I'll quickly harp on a few issues. The President Muhammadu Buhari, before he came to power, during his electionary process, he talked about tackling insecurity within a very short space of time. He talked about tackling the issue of power. He talked about exchange rate becoming low. A dollar will be up to about 2 naira or thereabout, or even lower. And he talked about fuel scarcity and petroleum in our country. As a former chairman of Petroleum Trust Fund, he said he was going to use his experience to tackle the issue of dysfunctional refineries. But today, these solutions are nowhere in sight. We're talking about manifestos of falsehood. These were all in his manifestos, and he has not lived up to such expectations. Before we harp on that, let's quickly go on a short break.
Register to vote and collect your PVC now. Affliction shall not rise a second time.
That is why we members of Global Coalition for Security and Democracy in Nigeria, GCSDN, is calling on all Nigerians, irrespective of tribe, religion, and political affiliation, to embrace our new formula known as 23 unto 23, which means you must encourage 23 persons to register for their voters card. Then the 23 persons should get another 23 persons to register too for their PVC. If 23 is multiplied by 23, we shall arrive at 529 voters card. If 189,035 of us do this, we shall have 100 million voters ready gidigba for the 2023 elections. By December 2023, GCSDN shall organize a global online election where we shall all choose the presidential candidate to support in the 2023 elections. We must elect a patriotic and visionary servant, a servant that will put our country and our citizens' rights above his or her personal interests. Oya, let the journey begin.
This message is powered by Prince Ewemade Concourse, PROGCSDN.
Thank you, Mr. Jonas.
Thank you.
Before that short break, we're talking about manifestos of falsehood. Politicians come with all kinds of manifestos, and at the end of the time, when the chips are down, they are elected. The the solution is neither here nor there. They are not. They do not live up to their manifestos. A case in point is the President Muhammadu Buhari, who promised us all these things, and go 8 years is going down the lane, and we are nowhere in sight to any of these. What have you got to say about this?
Yeah, it's shocking that the rate of poverty in Nigeria. Recently, I was reading an article in my office. Yeah, when we just step a little bit up. So India for today is per capita let's say the poorest per capita, then follow Nigeria. So we're just a little bit one step ahead of India. For the present government today, is really shocking that because I witnessed those manifestos, I witnessed the insecurity, everything will be done. It was easier said and done, but the present indicators shows that the government is really doing nothing. They are just sleeping, and people are really wallowing in poverty. Insecurity is very high. Traveling on the highway is a no-go area. And recently, I watched it in the channels when the one of the railway, I don't know what happened, got stuck on the way and on the highway, and it's like the people were everybody was just freaking out that they might be robbed. It ought not to be so. So insecurity needs to be checked. The present government have to put more effort. They have to look back to what they promised the Nigerian people. They promised the Nigerian people that the cost of gas, that is the cost of fuel, they call it fuel, petrol in Nigeria, will be cheaper. Today is, though it's a global trend, but it's still very high because Nigeria is an oil producing nation. Insecurity is very high, and if we look at the rate of insecurity in Nigeria as at the time when Jonathan was in power as of today, the gap is just too much. So they have to really come up because the government of today are sleeping. They are not doing anything. And
sorry, Mr. Jonas. My point now is this: do we support a criminal charge or prosecution again for all those politicians who are unable to fulfill their manifesto promises? Do you support, for them to be prosecuted? That is so as to checkmate these excesses of people coming with lies, knowing the fact that they cannot deliver on their manifestos, but they just try to cheat or deceive the people just to gain their votes. Do you support criminal prosecution against such?
Yeah, that's a very vague word. But when I say persecution, I don't, because if you look at, it's a very broad word, because some of these people, they execute projects and they inflate the contract. Am I right? They execute the project, but they inflate the contract. I think that's where my specialty, that's my area of specialty. And they can go to court and hire the best SAN and win. So when you want to engage them in persecution, at the end of the day, you will not win. That is why corruption is still ongoing to tomorrow. So I'm of the opinion that if the Constitution is strengthened, because today the Constitution is weak and the willpower to implement the Constitution is also weak. So we have to strengthen our institutions. Until we strengthen our institution, even though you want to prosecute, it will not go anywhere because they have the money to hire the best SN. So yeah, we want to prosecute them, but Do we win at the end of the day? No. Is the constitution strong? No. Do we have strong institutions to carry out? What's the police? What's the police doing? The custom. Look at the INEC officials. The institutions are still weak. So to me, I feel that all the components of the institutions in the country all should be strengthened. The constitution should be reviewed. And not until we do that, the process of prosecution will be a selective exercise.
Thank you very much. Before we go ahead, I just want, this program is a 30 to 45 minutes program at the moment. Before we go ahead, I just want to play a quick advert on our projects. Just have a look. This is our this is a water project we are embarking on at Moro local government of Kwara State, and we're soliciting the support of all well-meaning citizens to key into this so that this community can have potable water. They're currently drinking from running water where cows, rats, and other bush animals defecate, and we're trying to do something to ameliorate their situation of water scarcity. So that is the place. All right, and that is just a quick one, Mr. Jonas. On this, thank you very much for coming to our program today. We hope to invite you more in some other of our programs. This program airs every Thursday, 7 p.m. Nigerian time, just to sensitize the people of Nigeria about the ongoings and to name and shame corrupt practices and corrupt politicians, and to provide solution, towards a better Nigeria. Thank you very much, Mr. Jonas, for coming.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. On that note, we play you some of our jingles, just a quick one. Thank you and have a good time.